Okay, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Anbiya'i wal Mursaleen. Allahumma alimna ma yanfa'una wa anfa'na bima tu'allimuna wa zidna bifadlika ilman wa ta'liman innaka ala kulli shay'in qadir. So, Bab Kitab al-Hajj. So he says Bab al-Mawaqit, the appointed places for entering Ihram. أخبرنا مالك حدثنا نافع مولى عبد الله عن عبد الله بن عمر أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال يهل أهل المدينة من ذي الحليفة ويهل أهل الشام من جحفة ويهل أهل نجد من قرن. This is Qarn or Qaran. So there are two different places. There's Qarn and Qaran. So Uwais al-Qarani, not al-Qarni, Uwais al-Qarani, the fatha on the ra. ويهل أهل نجد من قرن قال ابن عمر ويزعمون أنه قال ويهل أهل اليمن من يلم. So Imam Malik informed us from Nafi', from the freed slave of of Abdullah ibn Umar, who narrated to us from Abdullah ibn Umar that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "The people of Medina should enter ihram at Dhul Hulayfa, and the people of Sham should enter ihram from at Juhfa, and the people of Najd should enter ihram from Qarn." And Ibn Umar said, and they claim that he said, i.e. Allahu Alam, that the people of Yemen should enter ihram from Yalamlam. So the idea is when you go on Hajj, we enter from different places. So we're coming from for example, if you're flying from the west, right, you're going to fly over Jeddah. Jeddah is next to Juhfa, right? It's next to Juhfa. And Juhfa is I don't think it exists anymore. I mean, it might maybe a tiny little town, but it used to be a city. And so basically, you enter Haram before crossing that over that area. If you're coming from the east, from Iraq, from Central Asia, from Southeast Asia, you're going to be coming from that side. So you're going to be for the people of not from so from Iraq, it's going to be like coming from Medina, but from the other side. So yeah, what would you do if you're flying that side? So the people of the Najd, oh yeah, the people of the Najd, which is the highlands to the northeast of Arabia, this is going to be from Qarn. So what you're going to do then, if you're going to fly, if you're flying, you have to look to either side. Which point are you closest to? Okay, and so before being perpendicular to Qarn, you're going to have to enter Ihram. And if you're coming from the south, then Yalamlam, which is for the people of Yemen. So that's where they enter ihram, right? أخبرنا مالك أخبرنا عبد الله بن دينار أنه قال عبد الله بن عمر أمر رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أهل المدينة أن يهلوا من ذي الحليفة وأهل الشام من الجحفة وأهل نجد من قرن. قال عبد الله بن عمر أما هؤلاء الثلاثة فسمعتهن من رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وأخبرت أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال وأما أهل اليمن فيهلون من يلملم. So Malik informed us from Abdullah ibn Dinar. So these are the two most important narrators from Abdullah ibn Umar, Nafi' and Abdullah ibn Dinar. Is the text clear? Doesn't look very clear. I don't know why it's so dark. It needs more light or something. Okay. So so the second hadith, then it says Abdullah ibn Dinar. You mentioned this second most most important narrator from Abdullah ibn Umar. So Imam Malik is narrating from both of them. That the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said basically the same hadith, right? So we ask this question: what is the possibility of error here, right? And you're probably going to find other people than besides Imam Malik narrating it. So two of the people who spent the most time with Ibn Umar said this. So the possibility of error is slim to none. It's not negligible, but it is negligible. It's not non-existent, but it is slim to none. Right? It's basically no room for error there whatsoever. Right? That's why Imam Malik used to say, you know what, if I hear Nafi' quoting Ibn Umar, uh, I don't care about anything else. Like it's so the hadith is sahih and it's super sahih. Okay. Sister Ilham, are you joining for the first time today?
Yes, I just joined.
Okay. Where are you joining from?
I'm in the Bay.
Are you related to you're Palestinian?
Nader.
No.
I'm related to Nader. That's my brother.
Oh, okay. Alhamdulillah. Okay. Okay, great. Ahlan wa sahlan. Okay, so there's just two people joined today. We have usually have like two people in this class, and they've been here for a long time. It's just interesting. So sister, if you want to continue in the class, it's ahlan wa sahlan. But please get a copy of the book. We're saying it's very important. I'll just show you. I'll share it. Inshallah, I'll share the link on the group. It's very important that we buy copies of the book to keep the effort. It's nothing to do with me. The money doesn't go to me at all. But these books, it's hard to get this kind of translations done. And so it's important, please, if you continue with the class, please do get a copy or two of the book, inshallah. Okay,
Okay.
so with that then, um, and just to give context, I want to um, show you the importance of the structure of this book. Okay, so then we have two new people joining today. So we just saw two hadiths that are basically the same hadith, and both of them go back to Ibn Umar, right? And so I just want to show you um, how important the Muwatta of Imam Malik is because it is the source, right? Just like it is a source for other books. So I'm going to show you now. I have here. Um, this is this is I'm already recording. Yeah, this is Ibn Hajar Asqalani's, what a photograph at least of Ibn Hajar Asqalani's copy of Sunan Abi Dawud, right? So if you imagine we're now going to go back 400, 500 years and we're going to open a book written by a hadith scholar, okay? And we're going to find the section on Hajj. I'll just find it first, make it a little bit easier for myself. 229. So now we're going to go back, and this is the handwriting of Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, the author of Fath al-Bari, okay? Um, and so he's going to mention the exact same hadiths, but he's going to be going back through Abu Dawud for this. So let's go to what is it? 229 we mentioned, right? So it says Kitab al-Manasik. Right, let me zoom in a bit more. This is Kitab al-Manasik. So this is the beginning, talks about do we have to do Hajj every year? And the second one is going to be, let me just try and find this exact hadith. So the index doesn't really have much details here, so it's just trying to find, where is this? The one I'm trying to show you is the centrality of the Muwatta and how basically tons and tons and tons of hadith go back to the Muwatta. So Imam Abu Dawud, whose book we're reading right now, and who's saying he is the student of the student of Imam Malik. We're just got to find the right topic. Bab Tabdil Hadi. Waqt al-Ihram, I believe is going to come up here. Talbiya. No, it's not possible. Okay. I'm not going to find it here. I'm going to show you, I'll show it in another way, inshallah. One second. Bin Omar. Give me a second, please. Okay, let's. So we did that there. So he said, أخبرنا مالك حدثنا نافع أن ابن عمر أحمر من الفرع ومن الفرع. It's الفرع or فرع. It's right both. So as Imam Malik said, narrated to us that Ibn Umar narrated ihram from that area. So it doesn't have to be at that point, but it has to be anything, any place before that point. أخبرنا مالك أخبرني الثقة عندي أن ابن عمر أحرم من إيلياء. So Ilya is next to is there's two Ilyas in reality. There's one is next to Aqaba in the southern Jordan, the other one is from Jerusalem. So you can do that as well. And many people used to do that in the past. Many people used to enter Ihram from Jerusalem. They would come to Jerusalem, and then from Jerusalem, they'd enter Ihram there and make their Ihram longer, right? And so that means they're traveling for a long time, right? In the desert in Ihram. قال محمد أي إمام محمد said وبهذا نأخذ وهذه مواقيت وقتها رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم excuse me فلا ينبغي لأحد أن يجاوزها إلا إذا أراد حجا إلا محرما فأما إحرام عبد الله بن عمر من الفرع وهو دون ذو الحليفة إلى مكة فإن أمامها وقت آخر وهو الجحفة وقد رخص لأهل مدينة أن يحرموا من الجحفة لأنها وقت من المواقيت وبلغنا عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أنه قال من أحب منكم أن يستمتع بثيابه إلى الجحفة فليفعل أخبرنا بذلك أبو يوسف أي القاضي عن إسحاق بن راشد عن محمد بن علي this is I believe محمد بن الحنفية عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. So we adhere to this that these are places which are appointed by the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم, so no one ought to pass them if he intends Hajj or Umrah unless he is in Ihram. So with respect to Abdullah ibn Umar entering from Furat, which is between Dhul Hulayfa and Mecca, there is another place appointed for after Dhul Hulayfa, that being Juhfa that we mentioned before, which is next to Jeddah now. Allowance has been made for the people of Medina to enter Ihram at Juhfa, as it is one of the appointed places. So they can go way over towards the Red Sea and go from there. It has reached us that the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever of you wants to wear clothes, i.e. his normal clothes as he would in Ihram, as far as Juhfa, let him do so. Abu Yusuf, the other student of Imam Hanifa, informed us that it's from Ishaq ibn Rashid, from Muhammad ibn Ali. So this is going to be a gap in the chain here. This is Muhammad ibn Ali. Most likely he's called Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiya. So after Fatima radiallahu anha, Sayyidina Ali married many times. One of them was a woman from the tribe of the Hanifa. So he's called Muhammad, the son of Hanafiya. So presumably this is Muhammad ibn Ali. It could be Muhammad ibn Ali ibn Hussein as well. I'm not sure who this one is here right now. So the point is that there's a gap here in the chain. That could be Muhammad, the son of Ali, the son of Hussein from the Prophet ﷺ, in which case there's a huge gap in the chain. And this could be Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiya, so Muhammad, the son of Sayyidina Ali, in which case there's still a gap in the chain, but it's not such a big gap in the chain. Wallahu alam. But as we mentioned before, for Imam Malik, for Imam Abu Hanifa, etc., a mursal hadith, when there's a gap in the chain at the top like that, and the last person who told you the information is reliable, it's all reliable for them. Whereas for Imam Shafi, doesn't consider it to be reliable. There's a gap in the chain, so it's not reliable. Wallahu alam. Okay, so it says باب الرجل يحرم في دبر الصلاة وحيث ينبعث به بعيره. It says a man's entering ihram after praying his 2 rakahs before entering ihram, and wherever his camel should get up with him. أخبرنا مالك أخبرنا نافع أن ابن عمر أن عمر كان يصلي في مسجد ذو الحليفة فإذا انبعث به راحلته أحرما. So Malik informed us and Nafi informed us that Ibn Umar said that Sayyidina Umar used to pray in the Masjid of Dhul Hulayfa. Then when his mount got up with him, he would enter Ihram. أخبرنا مالك أخبرنا موسى بن عقبة. So Musa ibn Uqba, this is the author of the Seerah that's just been translated recently, right? So his Seerah. So this is Imam Malik used to praise his Seerah highly. So he has a Seerah, it's a small work, and it's been translated by the Imam Ghazali Institute. So it's a good idea to get that, inshallah. عن سالم بن عبد الله أنه سمع عمر بن عمر يقول بيداؤكم هذه التي تكذبون على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فيها وما أهل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إلا من عند المسجد مسجد ذي الحليفة. So he said that Abdullah Malik informed us from Musa ibn Uqba, who informed us from Salim, the son of Abdullah ibn Umar, that he heard Ibn Umar. So we mentioned key students of Abdullah ibn Umar are Nafi', his freed slave, he's the most common narrator, and Abdullah ibn Dinar, and his son Salim. Right? So it's worth noting that Abdullah ibn Umar's slave was more knowledgeable than his son. Right? This tells us about slavery in Islam. This plane of yours that concerning which you lie about the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? This is an area that you say we should enter ihram from. It's not true. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam never entered ihram other than at the mosque of Dhul Hulayfa. قال محمد وبهذا نأخذ يحرم الرجل إن شاء في دبر صلاته وإن شاء حين ينبعث به بعيره كل حسن وهو قول أبي حنيفة والعامة من فقهائنا. Imam Muhammad ibn Hassan al-Shaybani, he says, we adhere to this. A man can enter ihram if he wants after praying, or if he wants to after praying his sunnahs, two rak'ah sunnahs before entering ihram, or if he wants to when his camel rises with him. It is all good, right? It is also the verdict of Imam Abu Hanifa and our fuqaha in general, so B and Sister Ilham, as we mentioned many times before, that this book is a confluence of two rivers. The Kufan school of fiqh, which is Imam Abu Hanifa and the Kufans, the students of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud and Ibrahim an-Nakha'i and those people, and the Medinan school, which is Aisha radiallahu anha, Zayd ibn Thabit, Ibn Umar, as we're seeing him quoted so much, right? And so when he says our scholars and your scholars, he's talking about the Kufan scholars and the Medinan scholars. And this is a key concept and the importance of the Muwatta as well, is that the Maliki school was not created by Imam Malik. The Maliki school is a organization and concentration of the fiqh of the people of Medina. So the Maliki school is not Imam Malik. The Maliki school was created before him by the Sahaba themselves. And the Hanafi school is not the Hanafi school, not the Hanafi school, not the opinions of Imam Abu Hanifa. The Hanafi school is the refinement, tidying up, organization, of Imam Abu Hanifa of the Kufan school. So here we see he's using our scholars say this, meaning the Kufans, right? Meaning the great muftis of Kufa who used to give fatwa during the time of the Sahaba. And so I gave a talk at Mountain House on Saturday talking about this and saying that the number one, the Salaf had madhabs. That's well established. It's not true at all to say the Salaf did not have madhabs. And the madhabs that we have today, these are natural extensions of their madhabs. So the Hanbali school is an extension of the Shafi school. The Shafi school is an extension of the Maliki school. The Maliki school is an extension of the Medinan school, right? And so somebody who doesn't follow madhab, you're just not part of that. You're just not part of that system at all, right? So these are key, big concepts that we see in this book, and that's why it's such an important book to read and study. أخبرنا مالك حدثنا نافع عن ابن عمر أن تلبية النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كان لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك قال وكان ابن عمر يزيد فيها لبيك 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 وسعديك والخير بيديك والرغباء إليك والعمل. So Malik informed us that Nafi' narrated to us from Abdullah ibn Umar that the talbiyah of the Prophet ﷺ was, at your service, O Allah, at your service. At your service you have no partner. At your service the praise and blessings are yours, and the kingdom you have no partner. Nafi' said that the extremely conservative Ibn Umar used to do a bid'ah. Astaghfirullah al-Azim. What is this bid'ah that Ibn Umar used to do? Right, the joke, of course. He used to add at your service, at your service, at your service, and at your call. Good is in your hands, and I am at your service. Our desire is for you, and our action. So Ibn Umar added to the dua of the Prophet ﷺ. Is that a bid'ah? Yes, it is a bid'ah. Is it a bid'ah hasana? Yes, it is a bid'ah hasana. So the Sahaba invented du'as. They didn't invent types of worship, but they invented du'as, right? So so the dua is already mashru', it's already something that's established in the Sharia. So you can invent more du'as. Praying sunnahs, you can invent more praying sunnahs. For example, Sayyidina Bilal inventing praying 2 rak'ahs after wudu, for example, right? Every single day, when you come home, you pray 18 rak'ahs, and you do that every single day, right? That's your special 18 rak'ahs of entering home, thanking Allah for, and you mentioned 9 things, for example. Each 2 rak'ahs is thanking Allah. You can invent stuff like that. That's not considered a bid'ah, because it's a bid'ah is when you invent a new type of worship. There is no that doesn't exist already, right? But otherwise, this is just uh, you know. So you see tons of things like this. Special dua for eating that other salaf made, right? And so that's why when ulama create du'as and someone's like, oh, that dua is that's not sunnah, it is sunnah in general, right? So it's a wrong methodology to look at every single thing the Prophet didn't do is wrong. That's not correct. Right? And here Ibn Umar is one of the most extremely diligent followers of the Prophet ﷺ. Right? Okay. قال محمد وهذا نأخذ التلبية هي التلبية الأولى التي روي عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وما زدت فحسن وهو قول أبي حنيفة والعامة من فقهائنا. So Muhammad said, we adhere to this. The recognized saying of labbaik is the first one, and that which is reported from the Prophet. Whatever you add is fine, right? So even Imam Muhammad didn't object to that. And that is the verdict of Imam Abu Hanifa and our fuqaha in general. Right? So, a very important thing is we have this obsession with bid'ah. Everything is bid'ah. In reality, the Salaf, they disagreed exactly how to define bid'ah. And they did many bid'ah, such as creating the mushaf, such as praying taraweeh, such as doing all sorts of things that are bid'ah. Right? So باب متى تقطع التلبية. When do you stop saying لبيك؟ أخبرنا مالك أخبرنا محمد بن أبي بكر الثقفي أنه أخبره أنه سأل أنس بن مالك وهما غاديان إلى عرفة كيف كنتم تصنعون مع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في هذا اليوم؟ قال كان يهل المهل فلا ينكر عليه ويكبر المكبر فلا ينكر عليه. So Malik informed us from Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr al-Thaqafi, who said he asked Anas. So Anas passed away very late, right? Anas passed away, I believe, in the year 91, I believe, right? So 91, that was when Imam Abu Hanifa was like 10, okay, 10 or 11. And so the chain, notice chain is very short here, right? While they were going to Arafah, he said, how did you used to do it? Right? So Imam Malik, yeah. So Imam Malik is narrating. So Imam Malik was probably born around that same time. Right? Imam Malik passes away, I believe, in 175. So presumably he was born in maybe the 100, maybe 95, something like that. Allahu Alam. Right? So Imam Malik is narrating from somebody who, when he was very young, asked Imam Anas when Anas was very old, right? Because there's like 3 generation gaps there, right? So if you can imagine, imagine somebody you were born, the year that you were born, that person died, right? So approximately that kind of time. So how many generations between you? It's about 3, right? So it's not like your parents, nor is it your grandparents, but it's like older than that. So one of the key things in hadith is to try and have a shorter chain as possible, because the fewer links in the chain, the less the chance there is to have error. And so here, this is what Imam Muhammad Malik is doing. He's narrating from a Sahah. He's narrating a chain that's narrated, So Sayyidina Anas is probably saying this, right? So Sayyidina Anas outlived the Prophet ﷺ by about 75 years, more than that. And so the Prophet Sayyidina Anas is talking about something that happened 70 years ago, right? And he's telling somebody, and this person is telling Imam Malik something that he heard from Anas 50 years ago, 60 years ago, right? And so by having a very short chain and having people convey information that they heard when they were very young and having them convey that information when they're very old, you shorten the gaps as much as possible. As opposed to having lots of, say you had 10 people between you and the Prophet ﷺ, right? It's like what Americans call telephone, right? In England, we call it Chinese whispers, right? There's more chance of error, whereas when you have a shorter chain, there's less chance of error. So he said, how did you do it with the Messenger of Allah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? He said, the one declaring labbaik would do so, and no fault would be found with him, and the one saying Allahu Akbar would say it, and no fault found with him. So nobody's going to object to any particular kind of dua. أخبرنا مالك أخبرنا ابن شهاب عن عبد الله بن عمر قال كل ذلك قد رأيت الناس يفعلونه فأما نحن فنكبر. So Imam Malik informed us that Ibn Shihab al-Zuhri, this Ibn Shihab al-Zuhri is arguably the most important author of the seerah. So if we open the seerah, and so that's why it's important to buy that book, Musa ibn Uqba, because you see his chain of transmission, right? He'll say, what's his chain of transmission? So this is somebody of the era of Imam Malik's teachers. So if you think of Imam Malik is like the teacher of the teacher of Bukhari, then it's like the teacher of the teacher of the teacher of Bukhari, right? Super early. Okay? If you look at him, There's another seerah as well that's been translated very early as well by the seerah of Ma'mar ibn Rashid. Ma'mar ibn Rashid. So this is the Ma'mar ibn Rashid is about the same time as Imam Malik. So when you look at a seerah like this, or you look at the original seerah, for example, of Ibn Hisham, they'll have a chain of transmission. But unlike the hadith, most of these chain transmissions they cut short. There's a gap in the chain. There's a huge gap in the chain. So if you can imagine here, right? Here this chain goes Malik, Ibn Shihab, Abdullah ibn Umar. Okay? And if it was from the Prophet ﷺ, it would go Malik, Ibn Shihab, Ibn Umar, the Prophet ﷺ. Okay? So if you cut this person out of the chain, you don't have an eyewitness anymore. Because this person is the eyewitness. Okay? But about 1/3 of the seerah goes through Ibn Shihab. And he is somebody who was born a good 35 years after the Prophet ﷺ. Right? So he's definitely not an eyewitness. So that's very important to understand that with seerah, a lot of it is like that. A lot of the seerah will go and stop with Ibn Shihab al-Zuhri and say, Ibn Shihab al-Zuhri said. Inshallah, please make dua for us to have tawfiq to just talk about that. And that's important, to know the limitations of something. Okay? To know the difference between hadith, seerah, and Quran. How authentic is the Quran? How authentic is hadith? How authentic is seerah? Right? And then you can start talking about how authentic is the Bible or the Torah or anything else. Right? You can compare these things and get a taste of it, as opposed to say the Quran is authentic, the Bible isn't. What does that even mean? Right? But when you compare these things, look at the chain of transmission, etc., and pull it apart, you're like, oh, that's interesting. Okay, where might this information have come from then? Okay. So Imam Malik informed us from Ibn Shihab that Abdullah ibn Umar said, I saw people do all of that, but as for us, we say Allahu Akbar. قال محمد بهذا نأخذ على أن التلبية هي الواجبة في ذلك اليوم إلا أن التكبير لا ينكر على حال من حالات والتلبية لا ينبغي أن تكون إلا في موضعها. Imam Muhammad says we adhere to this on the understanding that the saying of labbaik is the thing incumbent on the day. You have to say labbaik Allahumma labbaik. It's wajib. Again, for the Shafis, it's not wajib, but Hanafis is wajib, presumably. Although the saying of Allahu Akbar is never disapproved. And the saying of labbaik ought not to be said except in its place. So you don't just, so Allahu Akbar is something you can say any time and it's always good. Labbaik has a particular time. It's wajib to say in that time and it can't be said at any other time. أخبرنا مالك أخبرنا نافع أن عبد الله بن عمر كان يدع التلبية إذا انتهى إلى حرم حتى يطوف بالبيت والصفا والمروة ثم يلبي حين يغدو من منى إلى عرفة فإذا غدا ترك التلبية. So Imam Malik informed us, he says, Nafi' informed us that Abdullah ibn Umar would stop saying Labbaik Allah when he arrived at the Haram. Right, and that's the Sunnah in the Shafi school as well. When he arrived at the Haram, he started saying other du'as. Until he had gone around the house and Safa and Marwa, then he would say it until he went out from Mina to Arafah in the morning. This is his original. He says to and Hajj, this is your tawaf al qadum when you arrive. Okay, then he would head out to Arafah. Then once he had gone out, he would stop saying labbaik Allahumma labbaik, etc. أخبرنا مالك أخبرنا عبد الرحمن ابن قاسم عن أبيه أن عائشة كانت تترك التلبية إذا راحت إلى الموقف. Malik informed us that Abdul Rahman ibn Qasim informed us from his father, Al-Qasim ibn Muhammad, from Aisha, that she used to stop saying the labbaik when she went over to the Mawqif, to Arafah. So who is Abdul Rahman? Who is Al-Qasim? Can you remember Muhammad? Muhammad Sabir?
Um, um, was he the son of
The son of
he was the son
Muhammad, the son of Sayyidina Abu Bakr.
yeah.
Okay? So here's Imam Malik. He's studying with the great-grandson of Sayyidina Abu Bakr, Abdurrahman ibn Qasim. So Qasim ibn Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr is the son of Sayyidina Abu Bakr and the son of Asma bint Umays. Okay, Asma bint Umays is the wife of Sayyidina Ja'far radiallahu anhu. Sayyidina Ja'far was martyred in Jordan, right? He's there in Muwatta in Jordan. And then his wife, Asma bint Umays, married Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. Okay, they had Muhammad. Then Sayyidina Abu Bakr passed away. Who raised Muhammad? Sayyidina Ali. Sayyidina Ali then married Asma bint Umays and he raised Muhammad. Okay, and this Muhammad was with Sayyidina Ali at Siffin. And when Sayyidina Ali came to power, he sent Muhammad to be the governor in Egypt. Muhammad was killed, and his son Qasim and his sister, I don't know her name, was sent to be raised by Aisha in Medina. Okay, so this Qasim and Muhammad is one of the Fuqaha Sab'a. He's the grandson of Sayyidina Abu Bakr. He's one of the great muftis of Medina. He is the student of Aisha and the nephew of Aisha. Okay, and he forms one of the Fuqaha Sab'a, the seven Fuqaha of Medina that that the Maliki school is based on. So the Maliki school is based on the fiqh of Medina. And the fiqh of Medina is very important even outside the Maliki school. We mentioned the Shafi school is an extension of that. So Imam Bayhaqi, he says that when Imam Bayhaqi, the great hadith scholar, Shafi scholar, he is talking about the proof in the Shafi school why when you become eligible to pray at the end of Isha or at the end of Asr, you have to pray Maghrib and Isha, or you have to pray Dhuhr and Asr. Right? What does that mean? Eligible to pray. You were insane. You were in a coma. You reached puberty and you hadn't already prayed the prayer. So you were on your period and you stopped your period. Okay? So according to the seven Fuqaha, Qasim being one of them, then what happens is the obligation of Maghrib and Isha extend up until Fajr. When Fajr comes in, you're not obliged to pray anymore. But before that, you are obliged to pray that. So 10 minutes before Fajr, this kid wakes up and he had his wet dream. And you say, hey, did you pray Isha? He says, no. Okay, did you pray Maghrib? He says, no. Okay, so you're going to go make ghusl quickly, and you have to pray Maghrib and Isha. Okay, well, Isha makes sense because obviously it's before Fajr, but why Maghrib? Because these guys said it. Qasim ibn Muhammad, Urwa ibn Zubayr, other people like these of the seven Fuqaha of Medina, Kharija ibn Zayd ibn Thabit, these are the people. They said that the obligation of Maghrib and Isha catches up with you as long as if you become eligible to pray before Fajr. And the obligation of praying Dhuhr and Asr catch up with you if you become eligible to pray at the end before Maghrib. So a woman finishes her period 5 minutes before Maghrib. She has to pray Dhuhr and Asr. Okay, but she won't have time to make ghusl. That's fine. But you still have to pray it. Right, go make ghusl. Okay, by the time she finishes making ghusl, it's already Maghrib. She has to pray Dhuhr, Asr, and Maghrib. Right? So these are who these people are. Right? Every single hadith is a story. Right? You learn something. The Aisha uses etc. I mentioned that. Okay, inshallah, we'll stop here. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. سبحان الله وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.